What up, guys? Welcome. What is up? Another day, another week, another football talk. It is Jet City, and with me, as always, Mr. Cheese Squatch.
Squanch.
Squanch. It's a Sam Squatch, boys.
It's just Sam Squanch.
Alright, so we got decided to do this today on Thursday, just so we can do it, a little pre Thursday night football show for you guys, so you have something to watch before the game comes up. We're excited to watch it with you guys as
Get you
well.
excited.
Which apparently it's on Prime Video, which Buddy here told me. So I wish I could say we could stream that, but I highly doubt it. I have no idea. If we could, that'd be awesome because we'd love to
We'll
chat
look
with you.
into it.
Well, yeah. To be determined. No copyright laws will affect us. All right. Let's start it off, boyo. First game of the week, which we didn't have a Thursday, so we went straight to Sunday with the Texans and the Titans, which ended up being a really heated battle. Texans were not ready to lose this one by any means to their division rivals. They were ready to go.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a good hit. Definitely a good game. But I mean, when you got Derrick Henry running through a motherfucker's face, it is pretty hard to stop him.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, just to put it in perspective. I mean, uh, well, first let's go through the first quarterback part, which I mean, you have somebody like Deshaun Watson, who the first few games of the season has been okay-ish with under Bill O'Brien. Hasn't really shown much for numbers. Hasn't really stepped up. And you think maybe it's him. Maybe he's not making the right reads. Maybe he's not making plays. Bill O'Brien gets cut. Goodbye. See you later. And in comes Cromell. I think I'm saying his name right. Set to record for oldest head coach to start a game at 73 plus years old. And kudos to him on that. And this guy, Deshaun Watson, goes,
Straight up gangster.
"We are who we thought they are." I can't. Sorry, that's a meme of his. Anyway, back to what I was going to say. But Deshaun Watson this week had a phenomenal showing 28 37, 335 yards, and 4 touchdowns, zero picks. He did have 2 sacks, but you know what? That just proves to you that Deshaun Watson, with the right coaching and not somebody who, whatever the hell he was doing when he was there, Mr. Bill O'Brien, Watson he is a great quarterback, and I would say if there's any way to keep, even though he's 73 years old, keep Cromell on the sideline for at least a couple more years, that'd be fantastic for Houston because apparently the Watson likes him a lot.
I mean, granted they lost this week, but not a bad show out from the Texans. I mean, definitely better than what we saw under Bill O'Brien. So, I
Right.
mean, it would not surprise me if he plays like this the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it might not be a winning one, but I'd be willing to put money on him again and, give him a shot where he actually has control, rather than he's thrown into a losing team.
Right, and honestly, I would say that they could start winning games after this because Tennessee is a 5-0 team right now. I mean, say what you want about them, they do have a decent team, and especially like we talked about before. The reason why I believe, I mean, it could be wrong, but my assumption is the reason why Tennessee pulled away with this one by 6 points is Derek freaking Henry. I mean, when you have a guy go 22 carries, 212 yards, averaging almost 10 yards a carry with 2 touchdowns. I mean, and then one of his longest runs was a full field 94-yard touchdown run. I mean,
Where he was clocked at 22 and a half miles an hour. It's
which
absolutely fucking wild.
who's that faster than again? Oh, yeah.
That was faster than Lamar's.
Lamar Jackson. So I mean, just saying, like with somebody like that is running against you, and you wonder how you lost by 6 points. Really not much debate on that. But for a game that they had, like I said, first game without their old head coach and with a new one with an interim coach, I'd say this was a freaking win for the Texans to show that they are a good team. They just needed the right management.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and a 1-1 record. I mean, for the coach, a 1-1 record. not a bad start to this season. We look at 1-1 teams and go, oh shit, they can still win the Super Bowl. So like, I'm excited to see what they do this week and in the weeks coming.
Yep. And honestly, even if they end this year on a, didn't make the playoffs kind of note, but they, like you said, go 0-4 with Bill O'Brien, and then after his tenure, they go like a winning season of like 6-4 or however many games are left. 6-4, 7-6, however many. But basically, like that, I would look at that as a win for them, and then go to the draft, find your weapons that you're needing to help fix the holes you need, and just get ready for the next year and be excited to for what the future has without basically whatever happened this year. And then with Tennessee, obviously, I'm not trying to take away anything from them. Like I said, Derrick Henry did a phenomenal job. Ryan Tannehill had a fantastic game as well with 4 touchdowns. Did throw a pick, but you know what? Didn't matter. They still came out the win. Overall, just a great game by the Titans and Texans. Just Derrick Henry, like pretty much player of the game.
Just Derrick Henry.
That's all I gotta say. Next up, we got the Bengals and Colts. Another really close nail biter. Really sad to see it get away from Joe Burrows, but hell of a game.
Yeah, that was a very close game, but I mean, you got the Indianapolis defense just rallying in the fourth quarter and holding them to 0 point. I mean, even in the third quarter, held them to only 3. So a 3 point half after giving up 24 in the first half. That defense really pulled their strings tighter in the locker room, and all right, we got to get this shit together.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And honestly, I mean, I'm looking at it like this: like you got Joe Burrow, who did, like I said, he had a good game numbers wise, 25, 39, 313 yards. But then again, when you look at production wise, he has an interception, no touchdowns. I mean, yeah, sure, they had 3 rushing touchdowns, one from Mixon, Bernard, and Burrow himself. But as a quarterback, and again, like it doesn't matter how many yards you get in the game. Matt Ryan could put up like 450, 500 yards a game. But the fact he only gets 1 or 2 touchdowns out of that many yards, that means that every 2.5 football fields, he's only getting 1 touchdown. That's not productive. And here with Burrow, he went 3 full football fields and didn't get a touchdown. So you gotta, you gotta step up and you gotta like, I mean, take some shots. I know you only have 1 pick, but take some shots to the end zone. Get yourself some touchdowns there, and not saying that it has to be passing touchdowns per se, but I mean, take the shots though. You need like they're gonna otherwise you know close game, but I mean you can't rely heavily on your off on one side of the offense. You gotta do something. You gotta put yourself out there. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it looks like it was just a close game, nail biter all the way to the end. And I just think the main thing that lost it for them was honestly just the like I said, the lack of productivity from the quarterback, and then the one extra touchdown from running kind of helped seal the deal. But yeah, I would just say Joe Burrow just needs to a little more production on the scoring aspect. Otherwise, really good game for both sides. All right, and we got a win in Atlanta, there, boy. Here it is, first win after Dan Quinn gets fired. Or Atlanta says, "Wait, he's gone? Are you sure?" Boom, 10 points each quarter for 40-23 win. What are we looking at here?
That was absolutely beautiful, and I find it funny that when we're talking about the last game, I wanted to wait to bring it up until now, but when we were talking about the last game, Matt Ryan, getting all those yards, but not really getting the touchdowns that he needs. Absolutely flipped it this week. 371 yards for 4 touchdowns, almost every drive. Well, maybe not every drive, but every about length of the football field that he was throwing, he was getting a touchdown, which was absolutely beautiful. No real scoring in the running department for them, but I mean, Gurley had some yards, which helped them in their drives.
Basically, like whatever we don't see in here at 20, because yeah, you said 20 for 47 yards. Who knows? Maybe he had a maybe one of those like that long 9 yard rush was needed to get the first down they needed. Who knows? But like you said, Matt Ryan freaking 75% completion on top of that, which is phenomenal accuracy, and then 4 touchdowns on 370 yards. You couldn't ask for a better day from your quarterback, and 0 picks. I have to mention that because then we go to the other side, who has the same almost close numbers of 24, 36, 343 yards, and 3 touchdowns, which all look like, again, look good for a quarterback. But then there's that extra number, 3 picks, which is never going to win it for your team. Again, I will say it once, I will say it twice, I will say it 100 times. You cannot have amazing offensive numbers and be, oh, look at me, I'm throwing 300 plus yards and I have 3 touchdowns, and then say, oh, ignore that 3 interception mark. No, no, no. You can't ignore that because that is how you're giving up the lead. That is how you're not going to win games. And
Interceptions lose games.
it's one of the reasons why we always get on cases of Carson Wentz, of Mayfield, of oh crap, I just lost his name. Donald. I mean, you can't be throwing those picks. Just silly, silly picks. And but as long as Kirk was throwing to Jefferson, it didn't matter though. That boy is stepping up as a rookie. I'm telling you, he could be the or the what was it, the Roy, as they call it, rookie of the year right now for Vikings. 9 catches, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns, ridiculous numbers.
Phenomenal game.
Dude is a freaking stud. He might be like the Vikings version of the Calvin Johnson looking like right now. And then going down here to defense, just gotta give a shout out Eric Kendricks, 14 total tackles, 12 of them being solo. I mean, most people look at the sack total and everything, which is true, but the fact that he himself made 12 solo tackles all across the board, I mean, that's getting your job done on your own. Like, well done to him. And pretty much on this one, like I said, great game from the Falcons. Great job getting their first win after getting rid of again a bad scenario with not a bad coach, just a bad situation, and just showing like, hey, we're still a good football team. We just needed an opportunity to show it, and this was their week to show it.
An army is nothing without a good leader.
Exactly.
And you need that in a quarterback. Oh, not a quarterback. I'm sorry. You need that in a coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
Your quarterback is there to to help do that, but it
You gotta go through
comes down to the coaching staff.
gotta go through that chain of leadership too. Like you said, like if there's a part that's not happy with the situation or a part that's causing trouble, it's gonna linger down to the rest of the people underneath of him. Head coach was not doing well, was not making the right choices. The whole people underneath of him were just not happy with the situation. So moving on from that game, then as we see the Falcons, like I said, turning things around, we go to the Broncos Patriots game where player of the game, winner of just everything in this game, Mr. Brian McManus, kicker for the Broncos, going 6 for 6, scoring all of their points in the first 3 quarters. 2 field goals in first quarter, 2 field goals second quarter, 2 field goals third quarter, and all the defense needed to do was smile and wave as the Patriots scored at least 1 touchdown and got a field goal in the fourth quarter, and then that was it. That was game over. Like, yikes! Though, I mean, I don't even know what else to say about this game. Like, you, Chief, go ahead.
This was a very interesting game. I mean, great job. I mean, I can't even say great job. Good job, to not holding or to not letting them score any touchdowns in the game. Like, I mean, that is a feat in itself, but allowing them into field goal range sucks. Allowing them into field goal range that many times and not being able to score on offense, that was just a terrible combination. And it is very funny seeing, every week seeing, I think, the powers of New England shifts. And if you've noticed, I've noticed a little trend of if Belichick has a good week, Brady has a really shitty week. When Brady has a good week, Belichick has a shitty week. So I think there was too much power there, and it can't be shared. It just has to go one way or the other.
Sounds about right.
And I will say on the positive side of New England, though, it is nice seeing Cam be Cam. 10 rushes himself for 76 yards and a touchdown. Now, those two interceptions, terrible for talking about him like that. But I mean, he did what he could. Wasn't enough to get the win, but I mean, hey, maybe you got to get what's his name? Maybe you got to get Folk out there and kick a couple more field goals next time.
Possibly. I mean, looking at it, like I said, looking at the Patriots. I mean, like you said, first off, Cam Newton. Shout out to him for, yes, he had the two picks, but the dude had 157 yards passing. He had 4 sacks on him, so his O line was not helping him whatsoever this game. And on top, so even with those 4 sacks, he was able to rush the ball 10 times for 76 yards to get that touchdown, the only touchdown of the game. I mean, kudos to Cam for battling himself, like him just trying to get something going for his team without any help from his running backs. Harris, 6 for 19 yards. Burkhead, 5 for 14. James White, 4 for 8. All of them just not doing anything productive on there. The wide receivers, the only guy he could really throw to was his halfback, James White. 8 catches, 65 yards. And then he had Bird and Izzo each with 3 catches each. It just wasn't. He just had nothing going for him in this game, and he tried to make something out of nothing. And kudos to him for trying that. Um, just like I said, just unfortunate that he just really couldn't find anybody open besides of his halfback. Honestly, he probably had no time to really. And then look on the other side, and you got the same thing with Drew Lock, 10 for 24, 189 yards with 2 picks. I mean, that dude just pretty much was just like, I don't know where to throw to. And he actually I don't think you can blame his O line for that because Philip Lindsay had a hell of a day, 23 carries, 101 yards. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't score a touchdown with how well he was doing. like,
I mean, Patrick too. 4 receptions for 101 yards. One of them going for a 41 yards, but couldn't get in the end zone.
legitimately. I mean, like they had drives. They had drives with, like you said, with Patrick, with Lindsay. Like they were getting downfield to a point, and then all of a sudden they would reach like the Patriots like side of the field, and then be like, wait, are we on the opposite side? It's so new here. I don't know what to do. Where are my hands?
What do we do now? Help!
it's like Will.
Instructions unclear.
It's like Will Ferrell where he's in the interview and Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands. It's just it almost makes me sad. But you know what? McManus said, "Hey boys, just give it a few downs. If you can't do anything, I got you. Just get me out there." And he did. As long as it was a 54-yarder, and he made 6 field goals for 54 yards. Whoever had him for fantasy
They better be
was
getting that
enjoying
man
themselves.
a top tier massage for the amount of weight that was placed upon his back
They better
on
be getting a
Sunday.
massage. They better have, he better be like having the first few days of practice off so he can enjoy some time doing whatever the hell he wants for that win. I mean, let's face it, he's a kicker. Like, I mean, he's only the practices for shits and giggles sometimes. So, give him a couple days off to relax and be like, hey, bro, all you. It's legit. what? Like, kudos to you, McManus, player of the game. Otherwise, just I don't know. Just it was just Cam Newton tried his best, and yeah, just barely just didn't get there, unfortunately. Hence why the Patriots are
Wasn't
looking.
in the cards.
Hence why Patriots are looking at trying to acquire AJ Green or other receivers because they need some weapons. And we'll see what happens with that in the future. And we got the Giants and Washington game where we weren't really expecting anything, but you know what? I like Kyle Allen's production. 31 to 42, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's only 2 touchdowns, but the fact that he was pretty high on the completion percentage and 280 yards, he did get sacked a few times, and he only threw 1 pick though. It's not bad for what we've seen from Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, it was not bad at all. I mean, overall, it was a pretty decent game for him. I was honestly a little a little sad that they ended up losing because I mean, looking at the numbers for the Jets, I don't understand how they won that game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
I I
But
mean, you go for a total of I mean, granted, Washington's rushing was garbage. Just oh,
that's
all
putting it.
right,
That's
not
put
complete
it
garbage.
was
It was
that's
very
putting
it
it's
was
putting it
86
mildly.
yards.
It's putting it
Not bad.
mildly. No, you were right. No, you're right because you have McKissick and
But I
Gibson
mean,
both
when
not doing anything
but I mean,
productive.
when your quarterback passes for more yards than your opposing team has total yards, like what's up, dude? Like I mean, the Giants defense is not that great. I mean,
I mean,
I
their number
mean,
one guy was Blake
3 sacks on
Martinez.
the day,
Yeah,
you know, one fumble recovery. So I mean, nothing amazing. Just I don't know. That was just one of those weird games to me that wasn't really sure how the Giants pulled it out. But hey, congrats on their first win.
I mean, like I said, I agree with you completely. I mean, Daniel Jones. I mean, even had the most rushing yards on their team. He didn't have much for passing, 112 yards, one TD, one interception. But then he came out and ran the ball seven times for 74 yards. Devontae Freeman couldn't keep up. He had 18 carries for 61 yards, barely 3.4 yards a carry, whereas Daniel Jones rushed for over 10 yards a carry. I mean, he was getting upfield at least. I mean, 40. He had a 49-yard rush. Daniel Jones did. Holy crap! I want to go see that. I will go see this highlights later soon. But like you said, the Giants defense. I mean, it's not that they're terrible, but I mean, their number one guy that got tackles was Blake Martinez, with 14 total tackles, eight solos. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like kudos to you because that is a hell of a day. But I mean, like I said, it's just like the numbers just aren't there for them. Where like you know then I have to go to the team stats, and that's where we usually see how things went down. You gotta. It's just you just don't like because even total plays 69 to 46. Washington had the advantage. Time of possession, Washington had the advantage. I mean, the only thing I could see is the rushing yards weren't there, and I mean, yeah, I mean, otherwise, like it was just a close game, and they just missed that one field goal from their kicker for Washington went 2 for 3, whereas New York Giants went 2 for 2. So who's to say that could have been a win or not? But yeah, overall, I mean, good game for Kyle Allen. Otherwise, just a really crazy game overall for Giants to just barely pull out.
I mean, that seemed to have been a little trend. I mean, if looking at the next game too, you want to go to the Eagles Ravens game.
Uh,
Oh, talk about a butthole clencher at the end. I was very upset.
Being the Ravens, excuse me, Ravens fan you are, yeah. Because like I mean, looking at this right now, I'm seeing that they went into the fourth quarter 24-6. Like so, Ravens pretty much were like fans were still getting hot dogs and stuff, but they knew that the game was knew quote unquote the game was over, and then all of a sudden the Eagles just say, let's just act like we're a good team for at least a quarter, guys. Let's just go out there and bust our ass. All right, let's do it. And next thing you know, there's 22 points coming out of nowhere on the defense, and the Ravens defense looking around each other like, what just happened? I mean,
I mean, maybe this week was an influence of why we jumped on the newly acquired Ngakwe
yep, Yannick
out
Gakwe.
of the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
I know part of it was Ngakwe. He is from Maryland, and he has always wanted to be a Raven. So I don't know if that had any sway to it either. But I mean, it's
I feel like
as a Baltimore fan, amazing pickup. Also, going through the wires right now, there is a possibility of us acquiring Des Bryant
For the practice squad.
at wide receiver. So that would be, yeah, to our practice squad. For now, I mean, I personally believe if he plays 75% as good as he did, he's going to have, at least a second or third string wide receiver spot and he definitely help the team. I mean, not saying that we don't have weapons on the Ravens, but
I mean,
I
Des
mean,
has always been
you
known
look
as a
at
deep threat,
Marquise
though.
Brown, he's supposed to be our big dude, and I think he said 4 touchdowns on the year, maybe.
If anything, they
He's
need
had
to.
one. He's had 1 touchdown on the year.
If anything, Marquise needs to be back in the slot position because I feel like you said like he's more dedicated to the speed, which is good for slot receiving. Like that's the thing that people always seem to not understand. Like for Seattle, for just because I the only reason I want to bring up Seattle is because Russ Wilson and DK Metcalf have proven like the exceptional way of how a deep threat works. Because you got Russ Wilson who, does what he needs to, play action, whatever else, hauls the ball downfield, just says Hail Mary, here we go, ping, throws it up in the air downfield, and he throws it to a certain spot, like wherever he needs to on the sideline, somewhere on the hash though, where his guy DK Metcalf can get it. And DK is not a small guy. He's not this little baby guy. He's a bigger dude with bigger size, and he's able to go up for the ball. And that is why that system works right there. That's why that system worked with Calvin Johnson and Matt Stafford back in the day. You got to have that bigger body, that decent receiver. That you can't have someone small be a deep threat. I mean, you could try to, but he's really gonna have to use some hops to get over his guy. And I feel like Des
Yes.
Bryant, once he gets back into shape, once he gets back in the swing of things, could be a deep threat because he was that guy with Tony Romo in the Cowboys back in the day. So I feel like it would be
Um,
a good pickup if he could get into that position. It just might take some time for him to get back into it.
yeah, I mean, 2 years off is definitely a long time, but I mean, if he's always seemed to be dedicated of getting back into the game, so he's. I'm sure he's been working out at home, getting ready for this moment. I mean, he practiced with the Ravens in the off season, I believe, and nothing came of it then. But maybe they were just waiting to see how Marquise Brown turned out, how at least Snead was going to work in the slot, and make their adjustments as they go. Because clearly nobody else has been interested in him.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And then we got for this, like you said, just for this game in general, and like scrolling down to the defense, and obviously you have Calais Campbell who stepped up with 3 sacks today, with 5 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss. Big day for Campbell, getting after wins, making sure he knows you know, that he's gonna come after him. And plus, speaking of Campbell, I feel like he's one
We
of
are the superior birds.
the right. And speaking of Campbell, though, like you said, I remember we had a conversation. I believe he had also a factor in Ngakwe coming back. Like, yeah, sure, he probably was a Ravens fan, which is a big deal. But the fact that he was able to probably talk to Calais Campbell probably either A, helped him get to the Ravens, or B, secured the fact that like him wanting to come to the Ravens. So it's either they were able to persuade the Ravens to pick him up, or the Ravens were persuaded him to come to Baltimore, if that makes sense. Either way, him being a Raven is going to be a big deal with him and Campbell with the familiarity of Jacksonville.
That is going to be a dangerous defense.
Oh yeah. Because what is it that people want from their teammates? What's the big deal they want? Camaraderie, best friends, yeah, friendship. That's why Legion of Boom worked. That's why the 1980s Bears worked. They were all they liked each other. They were cool with each other. They knew how to work with each other. That's the main thing. But Eagles
That's
still.
the Chiefs.
I was gonna say, just to finish up the Eagles side, came back, tried to, Wentz didn't have a bad game. He had 6 sacks, but he came back with 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Miles Sanders ran for over 100 yards. And receiving wise, you had Fulgham actually step up, but otherwise, no one else really was able to catch the ball. Ertz 4 catches on 10 targets, just terrible. And the Eagles fumbled the ball 4 total times. Only lost it once, but the fact that they fumbled 4 times is enough to get a bunch of jitters going. So, otherwise, yeah, good game from the Ravens. Just don't that fourth quarter. It's dangerous, man. Dangerous this year. And next up, we have the complete blowout of the Steelers over the Browns.
What a game.
Oh, and do we like Bustin Scott tonight? Him against the Giants? I believe so. I mean, like, Philadelphia, their O line is iffy, but I feel like the Giants, they barely won last week. Like, that's what we were just talking about, actually, a few games ago. They barely won against the Washington football team. And, I feel like with Boston Scott, if as long as they have decent blocking on that line, I feel like he could do some decent. He's gonna get some decent stats. Actually, let me see, because Miles Sanders definitely did well last week um, for the Eagles. I'm not sure how Boston Scott did though. I don't think he did much comparatively.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just want to make sure before I move on. Then we'll move on from there. Yeah, Boston Scott only carried 2 for 4 this last game. So I mean, unless Miles Sanders is hurt and not playing this next week, I feel like Boston Scott really might not actually get many rushes just because of Miles Sanders being in there. So that's a tough one. I mean, because of the Giants, I would say that if you have a player against them, I would say play them. But if it's a backup that the other guy is still playing, like Miles Sanders might still be in, I would say try to get a starter before going for a backup. But all right, so moving on from that, we got the Steelers Browns game where, like I said, Pittsburgh came in and said, "Look, you guys may be having a good season, but we know how to play against you," and just completely decimated them. Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger, 14 and 22, 162 yards with 1 touchdown, no interception. Not much of a game, like not a big game for him. But then you look at the rushing. You have James Conner, 20 for 101 yards, 1 touchdown. Benny Snell, 617 yards with 1 touchdown. Chase Poole even ran the ball twice with a touchdown as well, or Chase Claypool, excuse me. And who's receiver, by the way, rushed in a touchdown. So Pittsburgh just had
Mapletron. What a
umpteen.
threat.
Exactly. And he was their number one receiver with 4 catches for 74 yards as well. James Washington had the touchdown, but you know what? Chase Claypool, another rookie of the year I could see happening coming out of Pittsburgh. Um, and then, like I say, look at the other side though with Baker Mayfield, 119 yards, 10 for 18, but he had a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Just not being productive on the field, not getting the job done. They benched him in the fourth quarter to bring out Case Keenum, give him a shot. Went 5 for 10 for 46 yards, so nothing much out of him. Didn't have much of a chance. But I don't know. I see them benching him and putting Case. I feel like it's about that time where they're really considering the not moving on per se from Baker, but they're really wanting to like give Case Keenum a shot over Baker at some point because if Baker keeps going down this road he is of his productivity. But otherwise, we have Kareem Hunt, 13 carries for 40 yards, didn't do much. So yeah, that was a big shock because usually you have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb doing something. Obviously, Nick Chubb is injured for the year. Kareem Hunt just was not there and was not stepping up whatsoever. Washington football team is going to Super Bowl. Oh Lord, money Lord. Oh, buddy. Oh,
Interesting.
oh. I
Interesting.
I am your
Are you
I
talking to, are
go
you
ahead.
talking about your Madden franchise?
And who did you pick up in your Madden franchise to make this happen? What difficulty are we playing on? um. Oh boy. I'm not gonna lie though, Money Lord. I'm not gonna lie. Like we were talking about it, Kyle Allen had a good game. I am. Hey, and you know what? That.
Yes.
Hey, you know what? I respect you on that because you know what? Washington football team. Like I said, I like Kyle Allen's game. He actually stepped up for the Washington football team, and I liked what he did with them. I feel like they have a weird situation at running back they need to fix because McKissick is just not doing it. Antonio Gibson is iffy. You know, the wide receivers. I like McLaurin. I feel like he's a great receiver. Um, and like like I said, Kyle Allen stepped up and he made some plays. They just barely lost that game to some. I mean, it's just lack of red zone. I think that's the main thing. They just didn't finish the drives up. Otherwise, I mean, like I said, Washington has possible. Yes. Haskins is trash. Sorry, just that's just.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I read into that too because I was telling buddy Chief here about it, and then I showed him the article. So it's weird because we're all wondering, like, like why he got benched and he got sent to the third string, and then they started showing like all the people, the coaching staffs being like, he and the team itself saying he's not being productive. He's basically shows up to practice not doing anything, not trying hard. Like teammates were getting mad at him for this shit. Like he was like, and I'm shocked by that. I'm like, you won the starting job and you're gonna show lack of production. Like, how does that work? Like, it's not like college where the coach says, okay, he's the starting quarterback for the whole year, so you just go and drink go have drinks and shit, and then show up to the game drunk or hung over. Like, I'm still starting, coach. Like, no, it doesn't work like that in
This
college.
isn't Blue Mountain State.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like he thinks he's still a Buckeye or something. Because, yeah, no, he went straight back to third string. Kyle Allen's like I said. I like Kyle Allen. I want to see him do more production like he did this week. Because even though they lost, it was by 1 point off some weirdness, and I could definitely see Kyle Allen being a good quarterback as long as they keep working with him. And Terry McLaurin, that's his name. Thank you. Um, him as a wide receiver, I like him. I feel like him and Kyle Allen, they just need to, go out, have a few beers together, talk to each other, work on some plays, schemes, etc. I feel like they would be good. It's like Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen up in Buffalo. They just need to go have that connection, and then they're good to go. All right, but definitely understand being a Washington football fan, and like I said, nothing wrong with that. It's just that they're still working on that team. They definitely are. Excuse me.
For sure.
And then like I said, so back to the Cleveland Browns game and everything. Honestly, just looking at it, literally it was just the Steelers. Oh wait, I remember. I want to go team stats because I'm pretty sure that's what happened here. Nope. It's actually sad because on the team stats, everything looks about the same except for third down efficiency, 1 for 12 for the Browns, 5 for 14 for the Steelers, 0 for 3 fourth down efficiency, and 2 for 2 for the Steelers. And then it was the punting maybe, but basically the Browns just could not finish drives. They had 0 field goals off 6 punts, and yeah, it was just the multiple and just they just weren't getting the job done, honestly. And we'll see if Case Keenum comes in for them. We'll see. Ah, happy birthday to your mother too, by the way, Money Lord. And I hope that she is having a great day. I hope that you both are having a great day, and got to celebrate it wholeheartedly. Um, I was gonna say if Washington played tonight, you guys could enjoy that game tonight, but yeah, no, it's the other two teams you guys don't care for, Philadelphia or the Giants. So let's see if we can watch them get a draw or something, so they can take like a somewhat of a loss. Let me see here. All right, what do we have next after the Steelers Browns? Bears Panthers. Nicky Foles. Big pull Nick Foles. Hopefully I didn't trash that name too bad. But yeah, Nick Foles 1 for 1 for touchdown interception, 198 yards. You know, not a big game, not a good game per se, but I think that he's still growing better for that quarterback for that team than Trubisky has been recently. So I do like having him in and having him still show production over what Trubisky has done.
And my boy, Big Pole Foles.
That's right. He's a Cowboy fan. I live in
Yeah,
Texas,
no, he is.
Maryland. Oh, okay, so that makes sense why you're a Washington fan. She's a Cowboy fan. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, if anything, I apologize to your mother then for what happened to Dak Prescott because he was on his way to having a fantastic year, and now they have Andy
Uh,
Dalton, who is just. I mean, he might do better
uh,
this week, but I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. But
it's-
sorry, but basically, yep. Talk about good old Nick Foles here with the win. Teddy Bridgewater did not show any production. 2 interceptions, 216 yards, but like I said, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, not good at all. Mike Davis rushed in for a touchdown at least to help get them a point. Excuse me. And I think how did they get a touchdown? I guess it was all field goals. Yep, it was all field goals. Just kidding.
yep.
So basically, I would say the loss for this one would be probably Teddy. You need to gotta finish your drives, bud. You gotta get that ball in the end zone. Whether it's by
Well, one rushing touchdown.
yeah, it was by Mike Davis, and then same for I think the Bears too. So yeah, just need to get that ball in the end zone more from Teddy Bridgewater. He needs to be more productive and not turn the ball over.
Yeah, I think that was the big loss for them was just the turnovers and
Nathan Peterman is a goat.
because
You need to stop that right now. Nathan Peterman's a goat.
okay, Squid, are we talking about from last week or are we talking about this like starting tonight this week? Like what's gonna be the game? What do we think the game of the week is gonna be
like right now,
coming up or last week?
we're talking about last week's game, but let me just make sure. Oh, let me unlock them real quick. But we do have right here. Oh, balls. Let me just put that back. How'd that happen? Okay. We do have a lineup right here of next week's game that we're gonna go through and predict. As far as for game of the week, that's a tough one to decide because there's a lot of um, whatever it's called, division rival games to play to put up. I would say a big one, and not even trying to be biased here, it's probably going to be the Cardinals and the Seahawks game, just because Cardinals are doing really well right now, and Seahawks are top of the NFC right now. So that was going to be a really good game. Um, Trying to think what else. Panthers and Saints, that's always a good one because you got two NFC South teams going against each other. Steelers and Titans should be pretty decent.
That Steelers and Titans is my vote for game
Yeah,
this week. That is going to be an interesting one.
yeah, especially with both teams being, I think, undefeated, right?
Yeah, both teams are currently undefeated.
So
I
yeah.
believe they're both 6-6.
Oh,
And
ooh.
this was the game that was moved, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah, so the I would say yeah, I agree. Actually, I changed my opinion. It is definitely going to be the Steelers Titans game, the game that was a moved from week 3 or 4, and two both teams are 5-0, ready to finally get that 6-0 kick in, and well, whoever's going to win gets that 6-0, and the other one's going to have to take a loss. So it's going to be a good game.
Someone's getting their first loss.
Someone's getting that maple bar in the loss column. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
No.
It will take your maple bar, and I'm gonna die. All right. Excuse me. Moving back.
Stop it.
So next game we were talking about from last week, we're gonna be talking about the Lions and the Jacksonville Jaguars, which the stash disappointed me. Kind of. I mean, he didn't have a bad game, but he also didn't have a good game at all.
Yeah. No, definitely not the best game. Um, I mean that's unfortunate, and it hasn't been, and as much as I've shit on the stash last week, and it's not the stash, it was just who was behind it.
Mm,
Um, that he hasn't had terrible games. It's just I mean, it's the lack of finishing, I guess,
right.
would be the best way, or just yeah, there's something quite off. I did not expect the Lions to go off the way that they did. Swift with 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. Adrian Peterson with 40 yards rushing and a touchdown. Matt Stafford, 223 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, he had an interception, but you know what? With the type of game that he had, that one I'll allow. He gets a bye for that. And we're going to scrub that one off his record. Like, you know what? You had a pretty good game. That's one interception and a touchdown, but your rushing did that. Good with it.
I mean, honestly, it's exactly the case. And the worst part is that that's exactly what it was. I mean, Minshew and Stafford pretty much had exact stats to each other: 220 yards, 240 yards, one touchdown, one interception, one touchdown, one interception. Clearly, they probably could have been battling back and forth with each other. But the rushing game was just a beatdown. Jacksonville didn't even reach 50 yards rushing, had 16 carries for 44 yards total, with one touchdown from Minshew, who probably had to get it within the red zone. And you have, like you were saying, the freaking Detroit rushing with 39 carries, 180 yards for three touchdowns. And I mean, that's just overall total. So, I mean, DeAndre Swift alone just demolished the Jacksonville defense. And I mean, the Minshew was finding his guys finally. Keelan Cole had a great game, 6 catches, 143 yards. But they just, like you said, the stats look nice, but they just weren't finding the right plays to get in the end zone. And so, unfortunately, Detroit said, "Hey, we can do that," and they made sure they showed it. So, and yeah, that's, I was just double checking. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what happened. Um, Unfortunately, that's just how it is. And the last thing here we got, or we're moving on to the next one. Dolphins completely shutting down the Jets. Oh, and what have you been saying, Chief, this whole
This
time about the Jets?
I mean, yeah, Jets just suck. But I mean, I at least expected them to score one touchdown on the Dolphins,
What,
who,
Chief? What can you
I
say
think
about them?
I think they've had the crown of suckage for a while. I think this is the game that they have effectively passed the torch, the crown, the baton, the throne, all of the above to the Jets as the shittiest team right now. And I think the Jets have to keep that title until they prove us otherwise.
And honestly, it doesn't help their. I mean, looking at their choices at quarterback right now, you got Joe Flacco, who isn't. He's definitely out of his prime. I mean, we already know this from when we went to Denver and to now to New York. He's out of his prime. 186 yards, 0 touchdowns, one interception. I mean, 21 to 44 passing, so he was below 50%. He doesn't look good as a quarterback anymore. He needs to decide soon if he wants to keep playing or not. Because right now, it just looks like he's just literally degrading his own career down the drain. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude about it,
Uh,
but it's like it's just not looking
Man,
good.
I love the man for what he did for us in Baltimore, but he should have retired after his hip.
Yeah, exactly.
He
After
just
that,
wasn't the same after his hip.
and then you got Darnold in the background, who's also the quarterback, who should be their main quarterback to go to, but he hasn't produced anything for this team since he's been in New York. Just like Geno Smith and all those other Mark Sanchez, just not a productive. Like I don't even know why they keep going for USC quarterbacks. They need to stop that. It's just not proving to help them. And You look at the other side though for Miami. You got Fitzpatrick, 18 and 27, 191 yards with 3 touchdowns, which looked really good. He still did throw 2 picks, which I think the fact that he threw 2 picks to a team like the Jets really sealed the deal for Tua Tagovailoa. I'm trying to remember how to say his name right, but for Tua to come in next week to be the starting quarterback, I think those 2 picks really were like, okay, they're throwing for Trevor 100%. You know, I don't doubt that at all, Squid. I agree 100%. I feel like the Jets are. It's like this meme I saw where uh, the top one's the guy just kind of like, smiling, going like, when when you pass on the draft, so that the Jets, the 0 and 16 Jets, weren't able to get you in the first round. When you see the draft you're eligible for, the Jets are still throwing 0 and 16 for you. I was just like, oh no. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Jets are going for Trevor Lawrence. I'm pretty sure they're like they want him to be like the answer. And poor Trevor Lawrence is probably sitting there in Clemson like, can I just stay another year?
Just one more year,
I'll be the
please.
towel
Uh,
boy. Oh man.
uh,
But yeah, and then after that with this
Sad but true.
after this one, I mean, like I said, like I can go through the stats of why Miami did go how they did great and and how the Jets didn't do great. I mean, the Jets defense did all they could, but overall, I mean, they punted 10 times in this one too, like for 462 yards. I mean, go ahead, Chief, just say it.
They suck.
They suck.
Just, I mean, I do have to say though, taking or not taking away from, but getting off of the Jets sucking as much as they do. I think the bigger news coming out of this game was Tua finally stepping out on the field, going 2 for 2 for 9 yards, and being named the Dolphins starting quarterback.
Off two throws.
Whereas it surprised me, whereas it surprises me, it also it doesn't. That is why they drafted Tua. They want him to be their franchise quarterback. So, and just it more surprised me because especially now the last 3 games, but I mean the Dolphins just went on a 3-0 run. So, well, I mean they're 3-3, but they've won their last 3 games. I mean I'm I'm excited. I'm excited to see, maybe it is just Tua time. And they're giving him, he has the 2 weeks of practice before his first game, so it'll be interesting to see how he does in week 8.
Yeah, I'm definitely shocked that they. I'm definitely shocked that they did that with the whole, especially with
Or
like
week
how
9, I'm sorry.
with how Fitzpatrick has done. I mean, excuse me, my throat. I mean, especially with what's going on in Philadelphia. I mean, I'm waiting for them to say, "Hey, we're going to get Jalen Hurts as a shot here." Since we're talking about the Jets, oh god, I feel like I probably know what video you're talking about, but I still check it out. But like I said with the Jet or with the Eagles, I mean, like Wentz is like, yeah, he's trying to make a comeback. Like he's not trying to be the quarterback that we all have seen the first few weeks, but it's like, I mean, the dude, like, I mean, like, how far do you let him go before you start trying to get Hurts some shots, or when you're gonna start, like, you got Hurts for a reason. There's a reason why you drafted Hurts. If you say it's to be a backup, I feel like a second round pick for a backup is kind of a low blow for the guy. I'm not gonna lie. And so, and then especially with like I said, Tua starting, it's like, all right, what about Jalen? I mean, the Dolphins have actually been doing okay-ish with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and they're still going with Tua. And the Eagles haven't done really much of anything for with Wentz. So I'm not saying that you know he doesn't have options because he really doesn't in Philadelphia right now. But I mean, he's still a quarterback and he should still be making plays. And I feel like with Jalen Hurts, like, you put him in there, especially with the wide receivers that are in there right now, that he's probably worked with in the like spring training and everything. I feel like he would actually be more productive right now. But that's just my own. That's just my choice on that. Um,
I definitely think so. Definitely time to try something new out.
and going to the next game where Buccaneers and Green Bay, and I'll let you, yeah, you go ahead.
I'm just Aaron Rodgers made a classic mistake. And if any of you are familiar with Dingle McCringleberry, he explained very clearly you cannot pump 3 times in the end zone. And Aaron Rodgers pumped 3 times in the end zone when he thought he had that rushing in touchdown, and he angered the football gods, which led to them going the next 3 quarters without a single point on the board, and Tampa Bay just destroying them 38-10. I just
And 28 of those
Mr.
were in the
Raj, what are
second.
you doing?
28 of the points were in the second quarter, mind you. 10. It was 10-0 Green
I'm
Bay after the first quarter, and then 28-10 at the end of the second quarter for the Buccaneers. Just, just four touchdowns in one
Aaron Rodgers,
one quarter.
4 sacks, and intercepted twice. His first 2 interceptions of the season,
Mm-hmm.
like, but he did say on in an interview I watched, he has been pick sixed 3 times in his career. Twice has been in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it's just something in the air down there.
I mean, I will definitely say though, following what you're saying here, Squid, about Tom Brady being Brady, I would agree with you on that. But the fact is that Tom Brady really didn't do much this game. Like he went 17 of 27, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns, which is still a decent game. I mean, he had 104 rating. But the thing is that he still, I mean, he didn't have high numbers. But I mean, like, they still had a lot of points, and the reason why that is because, like you said, A, 2 picks would probably set him up on great field position. B, you have Ronald Jones who ran 23 carries, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, Ronald Jones alone ran more yards than the whole Green Bay rushing team did, who ran total 94 yards all game. And then with the receiving wise, I mean, he just, like you said, Rodgers was just not hitting anybody. I mean, Devontae Adams had 6 catches on 10 targets. Scantling 3 for 5, 3 for 5. Aaron Jones 3 for 4. Tunyon, and then he had a lot of 0 for 2, 0 for 1, 0 for 2, 0 for 1s for all these other receivers. So I mean, whatever was going on with Rodgers and his receivers, definitely he was definitely just not on par with them, pretty much. And whereas the Tampa Bay defense, though, they lit his ass on fire. You got Devin White, 10 tackles, 9 solo with 1 sack. You got Levante David, eight total tackles, 6 solo with 1.5 sacks. Jason Pierre-Paul looking like he did with the Giants, 6 tackles, 6 total tackles, 1.5 sacks. And I mean the Tampa Bay defense just looked mean out there. Even had a return a pick six for Jamel Dean. So I mean, yeah, Green Bay just came in thinking they were gonna like have a decent game, and that defense just made them look just whiplash, just whoosh. It was bad. And next up, we have an NFC West rivalry of the Niners pulling off a win against the Rams. And honestly, Garoppolo on this one, phenomenal. I mean, he after what happened
Oh,
last week,
absolutely beautiful.
he got benched by Gabbard. Like I almost said, is it who's the head coach again? Shanahan, but like, what's his first name? It's Kyle Shanahan.
Yes,
I almost said Mike Shanahan because that's
Kyle
his dad.
Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan benched him last week for Blaine Gabbert, saying his ankle was bothering him. That pissed Garoppolo off, and Garoppolo was saying, "This is my team. I'm the quarterback." He didn't want to be benched. And then this week happens. 23 of 33, 268 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 124 rating. That's how you tell your coach to shut the fuck up. I'm doing this. Like I'm just saying. Like said to his
All
coach.
right, here we go.
I mean, legit though. I mean, like I'm not trying to totally like jump on him or anything, but I mean the fact that he just legit just turned his game around like after that last game and said, "No, I'm not gonna be benched again like that." I mean, hey, if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm just like if going to media if they ask what happened, I'll just be like, ask Garoppolo. Like, I ain't got nothing to say. Whereas the other side, Jared Goff, 50% completion, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. It's not a bad game, but not as productive, unfortunately.
Definitely not as productive. I mean, it was it could have been a close game, but you know, Goff just definitely wasn't performing the same way Garoppolo was. Garoppolo had a chip on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy said, don't put the backup in again. You're crazy." It's true. He did, and he proved that he did not need a backup. Whereas Goff is kind of sitting here looking like he needs a little bit of a sip of Gatorade on the sideline or something because he. I mean, like I said, it's not that he did
He needs
bad.
some milk.
Something because I mean he's not doing bad, but he's not being productive, and that's the problem. And especially like with a starting quarterback, like it's like in Atlanta. The reason why Atlanta was losing was not because of Matt Ryan. Atlanta had Matt Ryan freaking 450 plus yards of passing, and he was doing what he could for the team. Their coach though was just throwing in some weird schemes for their defense that they got scored on so much that they would try to score like 30 plus points, but then their defense would give up 30 or 40 more to lose. Don't understand how. I couldn't tell you how, but I just know that whatever was going on was just not a good idea. That coaching was just not helping whatsoever. And yeah, pretty much that game was just close overall. The Rams and Niners, but yeah, Garoppolo, I would say, chip on his shoulder made him definitely came out the win. Excuse me. All right,
Excused.
those Moss games we got Chiefs and Bills. Bills not doing as much as I thought they were going to against the Chiefs, but Mahomes had kind of a like it was a good game, but it was a really like I don't know how to explain it. 21-26, only missed 5 passes, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns. I had 128 ratings, so I mean he did well, but I mean I guess the running back made up for it, didn't he? Oh my goodness.
Oh, absolutely. It was one of Andy Reid's biggest rushing games, I believe.
Yep, and thanks to a little rookie that they decided to draft, Mr. Edwards Hilaire. 26 carries, 161 yards. No touchdowns, unfortunately, but the other rookie, or the other backup, I should say, Darrell Williams, came in for that touchdown. And unfortunately, on the other side, the Bills' main rusher was Josh Allen over Devin Singletary, which is not good when your quarterback leads in rushing and is only passing for 122 yards. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Yeah, definitely not good. Unless you're Lamar Jackson, it don't normally work out.
Pretty much. Um, and then yeah, pretty much all I can see here is that pretty much like I said, like production wise, you have Buffalo punting 4 times to Kansas City 2. Both had the same amount of kicking. I mean, just goes to show that the Chiefs were having more productive drives of getting touchdowns over pretty much over having to punt the ball. How do you feel about Le'Veon Bell on the Chiefs? You feel like he will go back to Pittsburgh days? Um, Honestly, I'm especially with how Edwards Hilaire played this last week. I am kind of intrigued by why the Chiefs signed him. Like, I'm not sure how much they signed him for, so maybe it's like the way I see it is that Damian Williams, their main guy, is out for the year. Like he's already he vetoed out this year pretty much. That's why Edwards Hilaire is stepping up as their starting running back. I think the reason why they brought Le'Veon Bell is because they want that veteran up not appeal. What's the word I'm looking for? Uh
Well, wow.
That like veteran
Yeah, I'm blanking on
presence.
it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they want that veteran presence around just to kind of help maybe Edward Hilaire learn how to do this kind of thing better. Maybe try to help Edward Hilaire, or even just having that veteran presence where he goes out, has his demeanor about him, does his own thing, and I don't know. Maybe they pick up on it. I don't know. Maybe or they're just trying to sign a guy that's a big name. I don't know. I just think that it's a weird, intriguing signing, and I want to see what they do with him going forward. Honestly, I want to see what they're trying to do with him, and you know, if it works out, it works out. But otherwise, I feel like I don't know. I feel like Edward Hilaire really wanted either he was super pissed to find out and had a great game, or he had a great game, found out, and now he's like, well, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
And so for our last game, we have the Cardinals decimating the Cowboys, unfortunately, and well, I say unfortunately. For me, it's unfortunate because I had Andy Dalton as my quarterback, and all I needed was 9 points to beat this guy with just Andy Dalton to play. He had Amari Cooper too, by the way. And I was just like, just throwing anybody else. Throw CeeDee Lamb, throw to, let me go down the list real quick. Dalton Schultz, Michael Gallup, throw all those guys. That's fine. Get some touchdowns with them. Don't throw to Cooper. Don't throw to Cooper. What does this motherfucker do? Mari Cooper, 7 catches, 79 yards with 1 touchdown. Gives my opponent the win. I lost my fantasy game. Super pissed about it. But, Andy Dalton, honestly, without any of that going on, I don't even know how to explain this game. He definitely did not look good though. Like 34-54, 266 yards, a touchdown, there's 2 interceptions. Doesn't look like bad numbers. But honestly, like when I was watching him in that game, he was missing his targets. He was he just did not look happy. Like he almost looked like he was like the new kid in campus kind of thing. He looked like just super like jittery, scared almost. I'm like, dude, you've done this for like years in Cincinnati. What are you doing? Yeah. And then you look at the other
And
side,
why are you freaking out now?
legit. And you look at the other side, and Kyler Murray didn't even attempt the ball as much as he completed it. He only had 24 attempts for 9 completions, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns. What the hell is that? Like Kyler
Not
Murray
great.
completed nine passes. He didn't even get double digits completions. He had 9 completions. what the fuck? What? And then he ran the ball 10 times for 74 yards and a touchdown. Kenyon Drake said, let me take over. 20 carries for 164 yards and 2 touchdowns. Holy shit. And then Ezekiel Elliott on the other side, Dallas, complete opposite of what Kenyon Drake did. He had 12 carries on 49 yards with 2 fumble losses. 2 fumble loss, excuse me. Like, dude. Like, I'm going to say that the reason why they did not do well this game, the reason why Cowboys, unfortunately, it went the way it did, was because Ezekiel Elliott fumbled the ball twice, lost both fumbles, and Andy Dalton was just scared to even touch the ball. I feel like they need to work on like definitely work on Zeke. Zeke's like their future apparently. Dalton, I would say like kind of like see where he goes in the next game, but I would be shopping possibly for another backup because I mean, holy crap, that was a bad first game for him so far. First full game, I should say.
Yes.
Throw it to the other team, just not to Cooper. Exactly. Actually, I don't need that because that would be negative points for me. So yeah. But I mean, am I missing anything there, Chief? I mean, maybe I'm like
I
too.
mean, no, that was. I mean, that was pretty spot on.
I,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I just get so heated, especially when I see, like I said, Andy Dalton. Like you were in Cincinnati, you played. You're like almost a 10-year veteran, and you're gonna like go out and act like you're scared and stuff, dude. Like, dude. I mean,
You can't do that.
someone get Dak
We
Prescott.
need you right now.
Get Dak Prescott his bionic leg. Let's just saw the some bitch off. Get a bionic leg on there. We don't tell nobody about it. We wrap it up with some skin, make it look real. Put him back on the field. We'll be fine. Like, like, geez, though, it's just. It, God. Anyway, that was the week 6 recap. We're gonna try to get through this because we have a Thursday night football game coming up. Giants versus Eagles. It's gonna be a great game. Possibly, I don't know. Actually, it's 2 1-4, 1-5 teams. So I mean, someone's losing their maple bar and going for two. I'm just saying. So let's see here. So we're gonna go through our oh God, there it is. Week 6 awards. We first have our offensive player of the week, which wasn't too hard to pick. Honestly, wasn't really. I mean, I'm sorry, but when you rush for 200 plus yards and pretty much destroy the entire other team, Derrick Henry. I mean, it's Derrick
Yep,
Henry.
you win.
It's Derrick Henry. I can't. There's nothing else to say. He demolishes teams. Defensive player of the week, though, this was a tough one. This was a really tough one. Just want to give a few quick shout outs just because the defensive player of the week was, like I said, really tough to pick. Buda Baker, shout out, 7 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, 1 sack, I believe we said. So he was kind of like all over the field. Had a great performance, pretty much. Um, Shout out to crap. I'm trying to think who else there was that we were talking about. Kendricks, Eric Kendricks from the Vikings, 14 total tackles, 12 solo tackles. Phenomenal defense, just all over the field, making tackles, making hits that he could. Um, I'm giving this one to Calais Campbell of Baltimore. Only reason why 3 sacks, 5 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks as well. I mean, Calais was all over the quarterback. He was making sure they knew they weren't going nowhere. Like even though they scored all those points in the fourth quarter, he still wanted to scare them a bit. Like you know, I'm still here. Like we're gonna do this early, but we're still here. So Calais Campbell, definitely want to give him that. But it was a tough one. This week had so many good defensive players. It was tough. Um,
Yeah, it was.
do apologize for that. Rookie of the week. I mean, this is one we've been talking about quite a bit, honestly. Um, I'm calling him. I'm saying he's gonna be the NFC's O'Roy of the year, or O'Roy, honestly, Mister. But I'm going with Justin Jefferson though, from the Minnesota Vikings. But shout out also to my guy over here, DeAndre Swift from the Lions, because again, 20 carries, 100 plus yards for was it 2 touchdowns?
Yes.
Hell of a game.
Wait for Swift. Yeah, Swift was too.
And our biggest bust of the week, I actually lied to you, Chief. I changed it to Ezekiel Elliott because I'm sorry, like the
I
reason why
can I can respect that change.
the reason why is because I was gonna put down either the Packers or Aaron Rodgers, but then I go back and I looked at the way the Ezekiel played, and I'm like, and I'm sorry, but when you know your main quarterback is out, like he's gone, you have a quarterback in who's now worked with the first team quite a bit. So that leaves you as an option to really have to start making plays, and you play the way you did with freaking you play the way you did with 2 fumbles that were lost to the other team and only 49 yards on 12 carries. You deserve a bust of the week. Like, bro, you need to step up. You are like, and I don't care if you're like, oh, I got my contract signed. Like, you are the next guy on deck. Like, Dak Prescott goes down, you better be stepping up and getting like 30 carries a game, and better be ready to rush. Hopefully, most definitely over 100 yards. You get 30 carries. Like, but the fact that he really didn't get shit and he wasn't doing anything except for fumbling twice. No, I mean,
Yeah, not good.
I mean, there's the bus for you. I'm sorry. Like you need to, like you are the second part of this team. Like it's you and Dak. Like period. Chase Claypool, star power man. Oh, I know, absolutely. He last week he was our offensive player of the week with the amazing game he had. This week he could have been rookie of the week, but Jefferson just had a really good game, and Claypool had a good game too, but I feel like Justin Jefferson just really like with everything that happened with Kirk Cousins 3 interception stuff, he was like a shining star for them on that offense. So I had to give it to Justin Jefferson. But Claypool is a monster. He's gonna do so much for that Steelers offense. He's gonna be like a either Antoine Randall L or a Heinz Ward for sure. It's like just with the variety he can do. And just because we had, like you said, a fantastic showing from this guy, extra special teams player of the week goes to Denver kicker Brian McManus. Thank you for the drum roll, Steve.
Killed it. Fucking 18 points.
18 points, 6 for 6 field goals.
Absolutely amazing.
Whoever had him, like I said, as a fantasy kicker is going bananas. Probably had like 20 some odd points total with all those field goals. All right, predictions before this
Yep.
game gets started for tonight's game: Giants versus Eagles. I'm going with, unfortunately, I'm going with Philly. Uh, Even with Wentz the way he's been playing, I think it's gonna be an ugly game. To be honest, I'm sorry, I gotta say it. I think it's gonna be an ugly game, but I think the Eagles are gonna pull it out.
Yeah, I'm with you. I definitely think it's going to be the Eagles on this.
Yeah,
Just there. Bills have not been looking all that great. I mean, yeah, they got their. I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Bills. No,
Giants,
not the Bills.
Giants.
Giants. Thank you. Giants have been looking that great. Yeah, they got their win last week, but you know,
Easy clap.
it's
I'm looking forward to. I want to see. Well, we'll see how Wentz does because I feel like this is the game. Then if like we're talking about Wentz and Jalen Hurts, if Wentz still throws picks and does not perform well against the Giants, if I'm Peterson, I'm looking towards Hurts going. You're gonna be practicing with first team next week. I hope you're ready because if you're not gonna do well against the Giants, you gotta talk to somebody. Just saying. And
yep.
if people are saying he's playing like Calvin Johnson, which one there, Squid? Are you talking about Claypool or are you talking about Jefferson? Because that's interesting if you say Claypool's like Johnson, because like Johnson's a fantastic receiver, but I mean I see him more as like the deep threat, like that's all he'd be on the sideline like let's do this shit. Claypool's more of like the reverse back, like he can come behind the quarterback for a fake jet and go upfield and stuff. Like he's a speedy gunner, some bitch. I'm not gonna lie. Next game we have Lions and Falcons. Ugh. I'm gonna ride the Falcon train. I'm gonna say week. I'm gonna say 2 win streak.
Yep, I'm riding Falcons as well. I think that new head coach is really going to help them out. I was really impressed with how they were last week, and I'm hoping they can keep it up again.
Yeah, I definitely see the Falcons doing a lot better. Like especially like you said without Dan Quinn there, I feel like they're looking a lot better, a lot more. They definitely like each other, or like the production they're doing together right now. And Claypool, I would put like that's a tough one because Johnson he was something. Um, okay, I'm gonna pay more attention to that. Interesting comparison though. Chase Claypool like Calvin Johnson. Interesting comparison,
Okay.
right? Browns and Bengals. I'm going with the Bengals. Um,
I'm going with the Browns on this one. Why are you
Understandable.
going Banks?
I'm going Bengals. Mostly just because it's a tough one though. Because yeah, the Browns, other than the quarterback position, they really well. Kareem Hunt needs to step up too though. So I'm going with Bengals because I feel like Joe Burrow. He wants that rematch against the Browns. He wants that win. He's thirsty. He wants to be his division rivals. So, well, his now division rivals as a Bengals. So, I feel like this is going to be a big game for them. So, I'm rolling with the Bengals, and I'm hoping Burrow steps up and Mixon, and they both have good games. Now, if the Browns decide to go with Keenum, which I highly doubt, which I highly doubt. Though I just don't see it. The Browns are kind of defeated right now. Yeah, I mean they are coming off a pretty raunchy loss last week. I mean, and that could either fuel their fire, um, to make them want to kick some ass this week, or it could demean them to just be like, "What's the point?" And oh, it's the Bengals next week. You know, we'll try our best or some. Or it could affect them mentally, absolutely, like somehow or another. But you're going with Browns, you said.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm going with Browns. I mean, I think they're looking a little bit better. They just can't seem Bengals just can't seem to figure out how to protect old Joe.
Yeah, and that's like I said, that's what I'm looking at is, you know, I want to say Bengals because I feel like Joe could make plays if he had the protection, but you know, and I'm hoping that maybe the Bengals step up. But then again, I say I go with Minshew a lot, and Minshew's lost 5 games straight, so you know.
True. True.
All right, this is the undefeated game, Steelers Titans. Oh, Lordy, this
I
one
went Titans.
you win Titans. Okay.
I went Titans.
Oh, this one's a tough one. I like Derrick Henry a lot, but and going against the Steelers linebacking and defensive line, I'm excited to watch too. I'm excited to watch the Titans O line against that D line. Ooh, Squid's going to Steelers. Okay. Um.
I mean, I can 100% respect going for the Steelers.
Yeah, this
I
is.
just think Derrick Henry is on a run through a motherfucker's face trend, and
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get off of it anytime soon.
Yeah, because this one is one of those like either like I'm not mad if I lose or not because like it's not like you know it's not like a Jets versus Chiefs game or something like that. You know, it's not like completely one sided. It it's legit. Yeah, and that's why I'm looking at that too. There, Squid, is that the Steelers do have a great defensive core. They have the great defensive line of Hayward, Tuitt, the defensive tackles. I forget their names, but I know who they are. I think Javon Hargrave's one of them. And then they have the linebacking core, Bud Dupree and all of them that just step the fuck up. Titan secondary is weak. Uh, yeah, kind of. They do have still have I think McCourty on the Titans, or is that or they don't have me? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna go. I'll just go. I'll go Oppo. I'll go Steel Town. I'll stay Steelers.
You're going Steelers.
Yeah, I'll have us beat. That'll be our Oppo game of the week, along with the Browns and Bengals. I see Juju getting back on his normal shit. Cable's having a field day. You know, I see that. I can see that. I feel like I feel like Claypool's been having a great game, and I feel like once the defense starts really taking notice of Claypool, Juju's gonna start getting open for some big runs, some big hits. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like Claypool's still gonna be a monster, but the fact that you have two ridiculous wide receivers now that you're gonna have to cover, one of those guys are gonna be are gonna be open, and Roethlisberger's just gonna be like a kid in a candy shop. He's like, which one do I want today?
Which will be good for him. He's been needing
Oh
more
yeah,
than one receiver for a little while now.
yeah. He's like it's time for like Big Ben to at least have 1 or 2 good years left, and then just be like, all right, thank you so much, Pittsburgh. I'm out. Because let's face it, he's almost done. He's almost done.
Yeah.
Next up, NFC South game of Panthers versus Saints.
One Saints on that one.
And James Washington. You know, James Washington isn't too bad. I mean, he hasn't been too productive this year, but he's getting there. He's starting to show a little bit more numbers here and there. Um, you went with the Saints, though. You said.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, I gotta join you on that. I can't go. I have to go with the Saints on that one against the Panthers, just because Teddy's just not. I mean, like he's kind of off right now. I mean, it's gonna be cool to see him play against his old team. I'm definitely excited for that, but I don't know. I feel like Drew Brees is going to just wipe the floor with their defense, and Bridgewater's gonna do a little bit of damage. I think he's going to do something against his old team, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And Squid agrees, Saints too. So we'll see what happens. We could be wrong, which I will be excited for. I just saw the next game. Moving on, Bills versus Jets. It's going to be Bills.
Bills. Next.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Anytime
glad we agree. Next.
the Cowboys versus Washington.
So I went Cowboys.
I'm gonna. Okay. Uh, I'm going with Washington on this one. Even though I feel like Dalton's probably this is where Dalton needs to step up. Like if he doesn't beat the Washington football team, if they look really bad, I feel like Jerry Jones is gonna tell Andy Dalton to GTFO, and they're gonna
Yeah, and that's kind of why I'm going with the Cowboys for this. This is especially after last week. This is definitely am I going to keep my job after Dak Prescott comes back type game.
am I gonna still be a backup?
And
Yeah.
I mean, some people might sit there and go, "Oh, well, later on in the season." No, you just can't. You should have won that last game because you had to rally
I
and
mean
prove that you were.
the fact to give him another shot after that last game is already enough because that last game was pretty brutal. And if you're gonna play the same way as you did last week against the Washington team, yeah, you lose. Goodbye, goodbye. So I'm going with Washington because I like the way Cal Allen's been productive. Um, I just want to see what happens this week. See if he keeps showing productivity, or if not, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, like I said, if Cowboys win, I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. So, but I'm going with Washington because I want to see Kyle Allen show more production. Um, unless C Mac does hold my jog and rushes for 300 yards. What? C- Who are we talking about? C Mac? Oh, you talking about McCaffrey? Yeah, I think he's still injured there, bud. Is he? I don't know. Either way.
McCaffrey? Oh yeah.
And we got Packers, Texans. After the way Texans played last week and the way Packers played, this is kind of a tougher choice. Otherwise, I'd be like Packers all day, but
I mean, I gotta go with the Packers. I mean, I love Aaron Rodgers. You know, once again, watching that interview that I watched, he's just so nonchalant about. Or, I mean, I wouldn't say nonchalant, but he's just so very unfazed yet humble about the whole thing. I mean, when talking about it, he was like, "Yeah, we kind of needed to get our ass kicked and bring us back down to okay, we're not a god tier team, but like we could be."
right. And, well, I mean, yeah, he's always done that where, because you always have the fans who like they see the one loss and it's like a blowout loss, and you got all the fans going, "Oh my God, our team is going down the drain. What happened?" And and Rogers always has to deal with that every year, and he has to come out and say, "Guys, chill, relax. Yes, they got us bad this week. Oops, it happens. We know now. We know what they did. We know how they did it. We're ready for it. Even if they do something differently next week, we'll be ready for it." So it shows how much Panthers I watch. Yeah, no, I get that. I'm gonna rock the Packers too, just because Texans had a great game, but I mean, Packers still are a decent team. They still have Rodgers, they still have Jones, still have Jamal Williams, and they still have Devontae out there. So I mean, it could be a win for the Texans, but I don't think so. I think it's yeah. Seahawks and Cardinals, NFC West Division rivalry. I love it. It's gonna be a great one. Um, I God, it's a tough one because you you got Russ Wilson and DK Metcalf versus Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, both really good duos.
I think we know who you want to pick.
Of course, I want to pick Seattle. I mean, I'm a Seattle born and bred Seahawk fan. Logistically speaking, looking at the game and what is it in Arizona? I believe.
I think so.
Let me just double check that because if it's in Arizona, that's gonna make it even more so. Yeah, it's yep, they're in Arizona. So being that they're in Arizona, I definitely can give Cards a little bit more credit because like when they're in Seattle, Seattle's Seahawks are really hard to beat in Seattle just because of their stadium and the people and stuff. Not saying that we're the best. I'm just saying that we just have a strong stadium wise. It's just ridiculous. But in Arizona, I mean, we Seattle has a rough track record going to Arizona. Honestly, we really do. So uh, I feel like Cardinals are going to pull away on the win on this one. Possibly, I mean, because Seattle, as much as I'd love to see them still win, I just don't see them doing well in Arizona. Like they always just they don't like the desert. They don't like the desert. So I mean,
Who does?
right. So I'm sure you're gonna go with the Seahawks. I'm sure you probably see them.
I am. I'm. I'm definitely going with the Seahawks. I like them. I want to see them do good,
I
and
do
I
too.
want to see me beat you when you go against your own team.
And honestly, like I said, I would love to see Seattle win, and I would be happy with that. I'm just saying that like their track record in Arizona is not that great, but it could change. I would love to see it be different this week. I would love to see Seattle smack the shit out of the Cardinals, but we shall see.
We shall see.
There we go. Chiefs Broncos going with Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Moving on. 49ers Patriots. I'm going with the Niners on this one. I mean, they could have a better game this week against the Niners. The Patriots could, but honestly, after Garoppolo the way he played and everything, I feel like Niners are going to have the advantage over the Patriots this week.
See, I went Pats this week.
Ooh,
I mean, I know they're coming off of a good victory, but I
they come
think
off a loss.
Cam's kind of in a same thing. The 49ers?
Oh, I think talking about Patriots. I was like, hello? No, okay.
Oh, no. I'm just saying, like, I know the 49ers came out with the win this week, but I think Cam's kind of also in that he's the make it or break it period where, yeah, this is working for us this year, but as of right now, we're looking heavy in the draft.
Right. I definitely agree with that. So right now, Cam's trying to see if he can keep his job in New England or if he's gonna play in New England and then sign elsewhere, or if he does.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, much like this year, like I didn't think he was gonna, not get signed. He was at least gonna get signed. So, and same thing as next year. I think he's definitely gonna get signed. Um, but where to if not, at Patriots or in Foxborough? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And we got Jaguars versus Chargers. Oh, do I want to rock with the stash on this one? I always do, and I get hurt. You went with
I'm
oh,
rocking Stash this week.
against the Chargers against Herbert.
Yes,
Mm,
it's. I'm nervous about it, but I want to see it happen.
I'll give Jaguars another chance. I just seeing that they're going against Chargers, I just feel like yeah they. I mean it's gonna be in San Diego or in Los Angeles, so I mean Chargers do have home field advantage. Um, I'm sticking with the Jaguars though. It's gonna be a close game. It's gonna be a close one, but we'll see what happens with that one. All right, and we got Bucks versus the Raiders. John Gruden facing his old team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Tom Brady going against Derek Carr. Rocking the Buccaneers.
Same. Buccaneers.
Yeah. I mean,
They put out an impressive show last week. I think they're going to do it again. Tom Brady's finding his groove.
yeah, and I feel like the Raiders are started off strong, but they're like not sure what the hell's going on now. And last but not least, for Monday Night Football, Bears versus Rams.
Let you go first. We already know who I'm picking.
I'm going with Nick Foles, baby. I'm going with the Bears. The Bears.
Dumpers.
The Bears. I'm going with Nick Foles. I'm saying he's going to have vengeance against his old team when they were in St. Louis. He wants to take down the Rams and say, take that, you bastards. Or he just wants to win for his new team and, prove that he's a better quarterback than Trubisky. Either way, I want Nick Foles to win. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like to run the Bear Towns on.
The Bears. And ladies and gentlemen,
Dumpers.
that is our Thursday night football wrap up. We are going to be I'm going to shut down the stream just for like a minute, just so I can start it up again. We will be playing some football while watching some football. We'll be watching the Eagles and Giants game. So I'm definitely going to be delayed because I know a lot of you guys are going to be watching. And I'm going to see you guys say, did you see that tackle? What tackle? Oh, I just saw it.
That one!
Yeah.
Whoa!
It's what usually happens. Or like I'll have or he's not in here right now, or he might be, but Iverson, when he's in here, he'll be like, oh, there's that touchdown. I'm like, well, I haven't seen it yet, but apparently there's going to be a touchdown now. Touchdown! Oh, there it is. Okay, cool, thanks.
Oh, hey, touchdown.
Wow, how did you know? Anyway, so I'm going to shut this off so I can put it on YouTube. So this will be on YouTube for Squid, for everyone else in here that want to see it again or want to share with their friends and everything. Trying to make this more of a bigger deal. Want to really turn this into something. Honestly, it's something I've really enjoyed. Uh, Definitely want to try to grow it. Grow it. I want to build it and watch it grow. There we go, words. And I want to see basically me and Chief here do more, and I want his face right above my face when we talk. So this way you guys can see my face and Chief's face. This way it's not just my
Yes.
face. You see Chief's face. But
Yes.
it'll happen soon. It'll happen soon. Go ahead, Chief. Sorry.
We will get there. I got to get the right setup.
Which you will. And like I said, if anything, hopefully in the future we might have some just in person shots. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see though. Anyway,
Big things coming? Question mark.
big things. We shall see. All right, guys. We will catch y'all in just a few minutes. Like I said, let me shut this off. Get the next one going for some mad.